Hello and welcome everyone. My name is Chiranjit Mishra and today I'm going to present the news items of May 13th. There are 5 main news, 8 quick updates and 1 personality in the news, which is Banda Bahadur. So let's go through the news titles, the headlines first. The first one is a report submitted by 2 UN bodies, Global Forest Goals Report. The second main news is about AI-enabled advanced weather forecast systems for hyperlocal forecasting. Third is about failure of India's exam ecosystem, which is based on the unfortunate incident of NEET paper leak, or the alleged, it's believed to have been leaked. That's why the exam has been cancelled, and students have to wait for the upcoming notifications. 5 core principles of that should guide India's foreign diplomacy. Okay, so this is actually not based on what the Ministry of External Affairs thinks, but as per one of the prominent or eminent columnists whose articles often get published on Indian Express, C. Rajamohan. So that is certainly going to help you add fodder to your answers in GS mains. Next, the last main news is 8-year Country Strategic Opportunities Program. Again, this is a collaboration between India and another United Nations agency, which is IFAD, International Fund for Agricultural Development, for rural development in India. Now let's quickly go through the quick updates, the news headlines. Global report on internal displacement 2026. That means how many people migrated from one particular point in a country to another within the country border. Second quick update is about enterprise AI services and impact on Indian IT. So OpenAI and other AI companies, they're also going to provide their deployment techniques. So now it may jeopardize the Indian IT sector, which is often involved in providing services, not exactly creating everything from scratch, but providing services and maintenance. Third, India launches Bharat Maritime Insurance Pool, which is very important from the point of view of the Middle East crisis and whatever maritime challenges India and other countries are facing now. Next, DigiLocker integration initiatives. Certain states, because of their integration of DigiLocker, have been felicitated. Next, I4C and RBI sign MOU to curb mule accounts. Okay, we'll get to know what are mule accounts. Maybe you already have some idea. Next, selection process of next CBI director. The CBI director or director, as you know, CBI is not a statutory body but a very important body. It is one of the leading investigative police agencies of the country. The second last quick update is about National Social Assistance Program, a central sector scheme, and how the beneficiaries are getting an amount per month which is unable to beat inflation. So a revision of the same is required. Next, PDI inhibitors and brain carrier changes in cancer immunotherapy. A very interesting piece of news from the point of view of science and technology, and also important from the point of view of prelims. Last, as I mentioned in the beginning, the personality in the news today is Banda Singh Bahadur. So let's start without delaying the first main news. Global Forest Goals GFG Report 2026. As I said, 2 United Nations bodies jointly released the report, and they show the global status on forest conservation, deforestation, afforestation, and the main reasons as to why the world is losing forests very fast. The most important reason is agriculture. People need clear space to cultivate crops, and that is why they're trying to get rid of the natural trees which form forests. At the same time, the report also ends with a set of recommendations which are very important, and they have to be aligned with the domestic policies of the countries of the world. Okay, so the 2 United Nations bodies, I hope you are able to see the front page. There are several global forest goals, starting from reversing forest loss and all that. So the recommendations are well aligned with many global targets set by the United Nations. Okay, let's move to the next page. As I mentioned, the 2 United Nations bodies are UNDSA and UNFF. Okay, one is United Nations Department on Economic and Social Affairs, and the other is United Nations Forum on Forests. Okay, assessed progress towards 6 global forest goals. How India has fared. So most of the goals are reversing deforestation. Okay, for example, making forests sustainable? Because forests are not just important from the point of view of the survival of the ecosystem, but they also provide livelihood opportunities for forest dwellers. Okay, and forest dwellers need to know that they can use or extract resources from forests, but to make sure that the next generations are also in a position to harness the same, okay, without making any compromise. So that is why this element of sustainability. So two bodies, as I mentioned, are UNDSA, if question is asked in the prelims, which is United Nations Department for Economic and Social Affairs, and then UNFF, United Nations Forum on Forests. Okay, includes all UN members countries participation. UNFF was established as an intergovernmental forest body, and all UN member countries participate in the same. Promotes conservation and sustainable forest management. So you understood that there are 6 forest goals, and because the world is not doing enough, that's why the report has highlighted and it has suggested certain recommendations. Findings of the report, this is very crucial. Nearly 40 million hectares of forest were lost between 2015 and 25 in 10 years or 1 decade. So India, if you just look at India, India's total area is close to 320 million hectare. And how much forest did we lose? 40 million. That means imagine forest covering nearly 12.5% of India's total area. Okay, 40 divided by 320 is equal to 1 by 8. उतना ही हो गया लगभग. So that is a huge area, and this much forest was lost just in 1 decade. You know how much time does it take to replenish the tree loss or the vegetation loss? It takes a lot of time. Forest loss recorded between agriculture expansion, major cause of forest decline. Agriculture, that is the primary reason. Fuel wood, charcoal demand, increased deforestation. Okay, that means people don't have cleaner alternatives. They're still resorting to the traditional methods of collecting fuel wood and charcoal. Weak governance hinders sustainable forest management. That means even though countries have laws in place, they're not able to implement the same. This is a very important figure, 40 million hectares. Any question on environment related to forest cover, you can start with this line. Yes, this is very concerning or alarming because the world has lost nearly 40 million hectares of forest in 1 decade. Limited institutional capacity weakens implementation efforts. Climate pressures intensified forest degradation globally. And what the world has done so far, that has been highlighted in yellow. That means we need finance, okay, to make a forest resilient. Of course, countries need to collect funds. And let's look at this global number. Only $84 billion have been accumulated or in the form of funds for forest resilience, while the target is nearly $300 billion. You may think that 84 billion is actually a huge amount, but think about the globe. Okay, it's not just India or one country. And while the expected amount is $300 billion. What are the recommendations? Very simple. Stronger coordination needed for forest protection efforts. Higher forest financing globally. Calls for deforestation-free supply chain systems. Okay, that means supply chain systems, if goods are transported, it should be made sure that these goods are not produced using those forest resources which resulted from deforestation. That means those agricultural products which are product of deforestation. Existing farmlands are okay, but you cannot clear a patch of forest to grow a particular crop and make it a part of the global supply chain. Cleaner energy access to reduce fuel dependence. Okay, so recommendations are very generic in nature. You can memorize so that you can add fodder to your mains answer. But from the point of view of prelims, it's who released the report? UNDSA and UNFF. Now, question for you. You can just I'll pause the video, read out the question and share your responses on the comment box, okay? Or at least attempt the question. Arrange the following countries in the decreasing order of the forest cover. Now I'm going to reveal the answer. So you can say these are the top 5 countries in terms of area also. Russia is the largest, Canada, then US, China, Brazil, next Australia, India. In terms of forest cover also, these are the top 5 countries. So decreasing order mein you have to arrange the countries. Of course, it goes without doubt that Russia has the largest forest cover. 20% of the total global forest is in Russia. You may wonder why not Brazil. Brazil has the biggest Amazon rainforest. But still, Russia has what you call boreal forest. Russia and Canada. Okay, the taiga. So Russia has a 20% of the world's forest cover, so it comes first. So two देखते हैं आपने, you can easily eliminate B and D. Okay, then we have options A and C. Next, Brazil, because of the Amazon rainforest. You know how much forest does Russia have? 800 million hectares, which is 2.5 times the size of India. Only that much is forest in Russia. And Brazil has close to 427 million hectares. It comes at number 2. So 2 के बाद 5 आना चाहिए. So this is the correct answer. The remaining order you can see. Okay, Russia, Brazil, then Canada, then US, then China at number 5. Okay, so 3 will come at number 5. C is the correct answer. I hope you attempted the question and got the answer right. Next, 5 core principles guiding India's diplomacy. GS paper 2, very important from the point of GS paper 2. The last news was important from the point of view of GS paper 3 and prelims environment. Now you may ask, is this the stance of the Ministry of External Affairs? No, this is not something that the government of India believes. This is as per a news article which is published on Indian Express by an eminent columnist who must be known to you all, C. Rajamohan. Okay. Now C. Rajamohan's articles are very important. Keep reading. You'll garner a lot of knowledge. So C. Rajamohan has given 5 principles, just like Panchashil. Of course, we have not abandoned Panchashil, but these are the 5 new principles which India must adopt or center its foreign policy around, taking into consideration what is happening currently around the world. The most important thing we often discuss is rules-based order. Rules-based order refer to the entire system of coming up with laws and policies to maintain relations between countries. And what is the epitome of rules-based order? The global body itself, United Nations, and its agencies and organs. Okay, there are other global laws and other global bodies which make sure that there is a certain format or a guidebook or guidelines using which countries deal with one another to maintain peace and harmony or world stability. Okay, that is what rules-based order aims at. But now look at the expansionist policy of the United States. It captured the Venezuelan president. Now it is involved in a war. It initiated a war alongside Israel against Iran. Before that, Russia and Ukraine have been at war. Russia and Ukraine have been at war since 2022, February. Now look at North Africa, Sudan. And we also had border clashes with Pakistan. And in a way, you all know what happened, how United States claimed that it was the one who stopped the war between India and Pakistan, which India has not completely accepted. So now you can say there is something like topsy-turvy. Something is not correct. So in these crucial times or at this crucial juncture, what India should do? India needs to realign its foreign policy. So India cannot follow an ideological or ideals-based foreign policy. India needs to follow a practical foreign policy. For example, Nehruvian times have been criticized for being very ideal. That means India should only follow good ideologies, good principles, and have bonds or friendship with countries which align with our interests and our understanding. Okay, that means we cannot believe in or we cannot have friendship with a nation or a country which has a despotic ruler, okay, or which has an authoritarian ruler, okay, because we have to keep our national interests at the core. It doesn't matter what our friends are doing, what is happening in their countries, okay. So that is more practical in nature. So what C. Rajamohan has suggested are 5 practical pillars for India's foreign policy. Let's quickly go through what are they. A shifting global order marked by geopolitical rivalry, regional conflicts, economic realignments, India's diplomacy should be guided by five key strategic principles. That means taking into consideration these situations, conflicts, economic realignments. Now look at the protectionist policy followed by the USA. Okay, it's imposing tariffs, penal tariffs on India. Okay, India's diplomacy should be guided by five key strategic principles. The first one is reciprocity. That means you take one step forward, I'll take one step forward. So that way, there has to be some mutual progression between the countries. Next is diversification. It's like hedging. Okay, don't rely upon just one friend or two friends. Diversify your friends or your partners. Next, strategic flexibility. Don't depend upon one grouping forever. Keep your options open. Okay. Now, the last two are strategic expansion. Look for those countries which can benefit India's economic interests or India's economic needs, aspirations. Then domestic renewal. Strengthen your domestic institutions so that you can have a larger bargaining power. Only if you are important, people will value what you say or how you want to strike a deal. If you're not a very powerful country, nobody is going to pay respect. That happens to individuals also. The same logic applies to countries. Okay. So now let's discuss each point one by one. Reciprocity. That means if a country is helping you, help that country. Or if a country is backing you, help back that country. Okay. Only to that extent, to be more practical. But this is what C. Rajamohan says, reciprocity, without mentioning the degree of intervention. UAE consistently supported India on Kashmir issue. That means UAE has been very supportive of India's claim on Kashmir. Okay, that means India should also reciprocate in backing UAE whenever there is some global issue which is troubling United Arab Emirates. UAE backed India against cross-border terrorism concerns. Okay, that means India should also equally reciprocate. Diversification, it reduces excessive dependence on traditional partners. For example, we are dependent on China for our RE imports or lithium imports. We need to diversify the source countries. Strategic flexibility, keep your options open. Now we are benefiting from both BRICS and Quad. It's not that because we are part of a grouping which has Russia and China, we cannot be friends with Japan, Australia and US. Okay, because Quad solves another problem. It is about regional security in the Asia Pacific region. BRICS, it becomes a voice of the southern part of the global order, or you can say the developing world, important countries of the developing world. So this is very pragmatic. Strategic expansion, as I said, look for those countries which can have economic benefits for India. At the same time, paying due respect to their global milieu also. Okay, so India-Africa ties growing in trade partnerships. And one part can also be India looking for partnership or engaging more and more with Europe or European countries. Okay, during the Cold War era, India had to look at Europe using Russia as a lens because India was Russia's partner. So India could not develop strong bonds with the European countries. But now the situation has changed. Domestic renewal, making economic resilience, strengthen diplomatic bargaining. That means take care of your domestic institutions so that you grow as a nation economically and you develop a strong bargaining power. Okay, that's it. Nothing else. It's important from the point of view of mains. You can quote C. Rajamohan, but you cannot put these 5 points as something that India as a country or the government of India is thinking. Okay, this is in a way you can say somebody's opinion, but because C. Rajamohan is a well-known expert, so his opinions can be used in the mains answer. AI-enabled advanced weather forecast systems. We keep coming across different models for weather forecasting. Bharat forecast model is actually the leading model. Now these are two side models we are going to use. Okay, so under Mission Mausam. So Mission Mausam aims at using AI to make weather forecasting in India more precise. So let's go through what are the two new developments. India launched two AI-enabled weather systems. and 3 bodies were involved: IMD, Indian Meteorological Department, Indian Institute of Tropical Meteorology, and National Council for Medium Range Weather Forecasting. These 3 bodies collaborated and they came up with 2 systems. One is for monsoon advance forecasting, how the monsoon winds are moving and how they're going to generate rainfall in different states, and the other is UP related, Uttar Pradesh. It will give you high resolution rainfall forecasting. That means UP is a large state, it has some 80 districts and each district has few blocks. So it will give you block specific meteorological data, okay, whether or not this particular part of a particular district is going to experience rainfall. Okay, for example, Noida is a city in UP, although it is a part of the NCR, and it comes under Gautam Buddha Nagar, if I'm not wrong. That is the name of the district. And Noida is a part of this particular broader district. So whether Noida is going to experience this much rainfall or not. So this model will predict that. And it has been introduced on a pilot basis, a trial basis. Okay. So it aims at hyper-local AI-driven weather services. Systems provide localized forecast 10 days ahead. Okay. It will give you very precise information, and not just about a precise area, but also the precise amount of rainfall. Sometimes how do we measure rainfall? In terms of the, what do you call it? Rain gauge. Rain gauge is a jar-like measuring instrument. Whenever rainfall, there is a rainfall, the water gets accumulated in that jar, and we check the height of that jar. Okay. So we always measure rainfall in centimeters or millimeters. Okay. Annual rainfall is measured in centimeters, and diurnal rainfall is measured in millimeters. So it will say ki today Noida is going to experience a rainfall of 5 millimeters or 5.2 millimeters, even more precise. That is the aim of this forecast model. Forecasting covers over 3000 sub-district regions. Can you imagine? 3000. So एक district को you can break it into blocks, say 3, 4 or 5 blocks. Then you can be more precise depending upon this neighborhood or that neighborhood. Okay. Hyper-local forecast focus on very small areas. That is the keyword. Hyper-local forecast. Local से भी और नीचे. Significance of hyper-local weather forecasting. Forecasts help monitor heat distribution patterns, of course. Heat, humidity, temperature. These are the important metrics of weather. System support air quality monitoring and management. Disaster prevention improves thorough, accurate rainfall forecasts. It should be thorough, I guess, not through. Agriculture receives precise soil moisture information. Farmers can also get information, okay, which crop to cultivate, although there are Kharif and Rabi crops, but farmers can be more choosy or more specific depending upon the humidity level, or if they're planning to water the crops, that day they can skip it if they get to know in advance that there is going to be rainfall. So they can change their day-to-day plans. Other government initiatives that have been taken for weather forecasting, Mission Mausam is you can say the umbrella mission, okay, which improves weather forecast, and under it we have different models like Bharat Forecast System or Mausam app or Damini app, which gives you information related to thunder strikes and lightning, okay, or Umang platform shares weather related public services. This is a very comprehensive app, Umang. All sorts of government services you can get to know, okay. So that's all about the news. This is also very important. Bharat Forecast System is integrated under Mission Mausam. Mission Mausam, as I said, is the umbrella scheme, and all these models are part of Mission Mausam. There is also an app which is called Mausam app, okay, named after the mission. Failure of India's exam ecosystem. This is a very concerning piece of news. So as you know what happened, NEET, I think it has happened for the second time. The paper got leaked. There is an investigation that is on. So it was conducted earlier this month and many people succeeded in qualifying the exam. Now it's a heartbreak for many of the candidates who genuinely or without using any unfair means qualified the exam because of some rogue candidates who used unfair means to qualify the exam. Okay, so now many genuine candidates are going to suffer, and in a way we can say that there is something is not right with India's exam ecosystem. Okay, a couple of years ago also there was this case related to a UPSC candidate of Maharashtra cadre. You must have come across it. So now today we are going to focus upon this NEET or entrance exam systems. Okay, for example, those exams that you take to get a seat in any of the engineering or medical colleges. Let's quickly go through what is the reason behind such paper leaks. NEET UG 2026 cancelled. UG means undergraduate course. That means after taking this exam, people are going to get a seat for MBBS in the medical colleges of this country. Incident reflects deeper examination system failures. Okay, this may sound very generic, but this is something that you can use in your answer. And I think such a topic is very important from the point of view of essay also. Although these days UPSC is asking essays with titles like very proverbial in nature, but this can form a very good theme. Okay. So NTA conducts national entrance and recruitment examinations. It was established in 2017. Earlier there was AIEEE, AIPMT long ago, and these were conducted by CBSE. And IIT JEE was a separate exam conducted by the IITs together. Now NEET is taking care of all the exams. JEE, NEET, National Testing Agency is taking care of all the exams. Okay, this NEET UG, PG, and JEE. So this time it was NEET UG, which the paper of which got leaked. Reasons for failure of exam ecosystem. Now, if you just think deeply, what are the possible reasons which is prompting this practice? People are so desperate to get a seat in the government colleges. The government colleges are always the best colleges in this country for undergraduate programs, especially for engineering and medical science. And unequal education boards create unfair competition. Okay, this can be a possible factor. For example, most of the exams are conducted by CBSE. Now NTA, National Testing Agency, you'll see NCERT books are often studied even by UPSC aspirants, because many of the questions or syllabus they match with that of NCERT books. Okay, now those students who follow the curriculum set by the state governments, okay, for example, they have different HSC boards, that creates a problem. Okay, they think that they are losing out when it comes to entrance exams, and this may trigger this tendency of using unfair means to crack the test. Weak cyber security enables unauthorized paper access. Earlier it used to be pen paper test. That way it was safer, I would say. Although the results would take time, evaluation of answer scripts would take time. But because of everything has now been digitized, we need to have a strong cyber security system, because there is nothing wrong in going digital. You just need to make sure that your tools and devices which are digital in nature are taken care of or are under surveillance. So for that you need a strong cyber security system. Poor digital systems increases leak vulnerabilities. Okay, these 2 points are related. Social acceptance of cheating persists regionally. This is a very controversial statement, but yeah, you must have seen many celebrities or many people very proudly saying, yes, I passed the exam by cheating. Okay, they must have used some cheats or they must have asked their friends. But in a way, we may take it as a joke, but sometimes it creates this mindset that it's okay if some popular individual cracked the exam by cheating, why can't I pass it? And people here simply focus on the end. They ignore the means. Okay, so Bihar also witnessed incidents of mass cheating. Okay, that means if something is happening, not particularly Bihar, that can happen in any state. Okay, Bihar is a state full of talented individuals. Okay, it can happen in and with any state. If some people are ready to adopt unfair means, they can approach the middlemen who are involved in such malpractices. That means if there is a demand, there will certainly be some amount of supply. Ethical issues involved, fairness and equal opportunity become compromised, integrity and transparency of exams questioned. These are very good points from the point of view of GS paper 4. Cheating violates principles of deontological ethics. Okay, so although this is a GS paper 2 theme, you can use most of the themes in GS paper 4. Virtue ethics opposes deception and dishonesty. Disadvantaged students suffer greater educational inequality. Legal provisions related to exam ecosystem. We have a law in place, which is 2024 anti-cheating law. But as you can see, there are many good or adequate laws in India, but implementation is lacking. Rules mandate FIRs during malpractice incidents. committees probe management and service provider involvement. Now, we all know that when National Testing Agency was established in 2017 to make this examination conducting process smoother. But this is the scenario. Okay. If you ask me whether this question is going to come or any question is going to be asked based on this theme, it may be asked or it may feature in GS paper 2. But still, knowing will actually generate enough fodder for you in case you want to add a particular point or aspect of governance in this country in an essay paper, in your essay paper. Okay. The last main news, 8-year country strategic opportunities program. So this is again India's collaboration with another United Nations agency to strengthen rural livelihood, to make rural India more resilient. Because now there are so many changes taking place, starting from climate change, coming of AI, okay. So employment opportunities are also getting more and more scarce. So taking into consideration what all steps can be taken, so India has created a roadmap along with another United Nations agency. Let's quickly go through that. India and IFAD launched new COSOP, okay. So IFAD is basically International Fund for Agricultural Development. Program period extends from 2026 to 33 for the next 7 years. And what is this framework related to rural? Yeah, what is this framework? It talks about strengthening rural incomes and livelihoods, as I mentioned in the beginning. The focus includes resilience and sustainable opportunities. Okay, that means, for example, the Indian villages should be shielded from external shocks. Okay, just like we having urban India, there is plenty of employment opportunities. In rural India, we need to have equally good employment opportunities. Okay, because there are many poor people who are very close to the BPL line. If a particular shock affects the families, they can easily slide down the BPL line. So they are very close to that line which separates the APL categories from the BPL categories. Okay. Strategic objectives of COSOP: rural, social and economic resilience strengthened. Climatic resilience of villages receives major focus. Program supports India's poverty-free village commitment. As you can see, it's a very generic topic. There is nothing special in that, and I don't think it's very important. You can simply say what steps India has taken for building or strengthening rural resilience. Okay, this is the keyword I would say. Strengthening rural resilience. And here we're talking about mainly economic resilience. So India collaborated with IFAD to come up with this particular framework. Program supports India's poverty-free village commitment. Climatic resilience of villages receives major focus, because when we talk about rural India, what comes to your mind? Farmers, villages, agriculture. Now, Indian agriculture is dependent upon monsoon, and monsoon is very mercurial in nature, and it is becoming even more unpredictable because of climate change. Okay, so in a way, climate change affects rural livelihood. Okay. Target groups. Who are the target groups under this particular framework? Program targets climate vulnerable Himalayan regions. Here we are talking about regions, then also categories of people. Aspirational districts, poor households, and also people from backward classes, economically or financially backward classes. Focus includes 10 poorest Indian states. So there is this abbreviation that we use, BIMARU, although many of the states have done really well. Bihar, UP, Jharkhand, Odisha, all the states are among the top 10 poorest states of India. Okay, so this much you need to know. Yes, this part is very important from the point of view of prelims. What is International Fund for Agricultural Development? It tackles rural hunger and poverty. It was established in 1977. Okay, 1977. It functions as specialized United Nations agency, and headquarters is in Rome, Italy, not in Paris or not in New York. IFAD has 180 member countries, and India is one of the founding members. That's it. Now coming to the personality in the news, Baba Banda Singh Bahadur. So the name is very famous. He was a Khalsa military leader who succeeded the 10th Guru, Guru Gobind Singh. And recently he was commemorated. His involvement in a particular battle in Sirhind was commemorated, in which he trounced upon a Mughal leader, and in a way he avenged the death of the 10th Guru. Also his two children. So Sirhind Fateh Divas has been observed. Sirhind is a place in Punjab, very close to Haryana border, but it doesn't share border with Haryana. It's a place in Punjab in the Fatehpur district, if I'm not wrong. So there the battle took place. And this Divas is observed annually to commemorate the historic conquest of Sirhind by Baba Banda Bahadur in 1710. And Banda Bahadur's real name was Lakshman Dev or Lakshman Dev, you can say. This is a variant used in North India. The exact name is Lakshman Dev, and he was a great Sikh warrior leader, native of Rajouri region in Jammu and Kashmir, not Delhi. He defeated oppressive Mughal forces, liberated large North Indian regions, martyred in Mehrauli in Delhi. This much you need to know. A question may be asked, was he a contemporary of Aurangzeb? Yes, he was. He was born in 1670, and Aurangzeb passed away in 1707, but he outlived. Ultimately passed away in 1760. Now quick updates. Internal displacement, which is a very critical issue. It's like intra-country migration. When people move from point A to point B inside a country, and that can be due to any disaster or any conflict or riot. Okay. So this report has been released by an NGO, an international NGO, which is based in Norway, Internal Displacement Monitoring Center, which comes under Norwegian Refugee Council. So what are its observations? Nearly 8.2 crore people, they got displaced across 104 countries in the last decade. Okay, in the last decade. And conflict and violence displacement 68.6 million, which outnumbered the people who got displaced due to disaster related issues. Normally earlier, say 20 years ago, most people used to move away from disaster prone areas, say earthquake prone, or maybe there is land subsidence or sea water level rise. For example, people living in villages very close to the Bay of Bengal in Sundarban region, they're also moving away because of sea level rise. But the number of people who migrated away because of disaster related issues has been outnumbered by this figure. That means more people are moving away because of conflicts and riots. And Sudan is the number one country which showed the highest number of internal migration or internal displacement. For example, in Middle East, Palestine and Israel, okay, people are moving away from Middle East. And Middle East as a whole, especially after this war started. Enterprise AI services by OpenAI and Anthropic service. So this is हुआ के इसमें Anthropic and OpenAI, these are famous for their LLMs. Now LLMs are basically what? AI models, and ultimately AI models are not apps. Apps can be based on AI models. The most critical part of any AI model, as you know, first you need data scientists, before that data analysts, okay. Then you need ML engineers who develop models. Sometimes these two roles overlap. Ultimately you need AI engineers who are different from machine learning engineers, because AI engineers knows those coding language using which they can give practical application to AI models. Okay. Now earlier AI models could be generated by one company and they could be deployed by other companies. Now these companies are doing end-to-end everything. Imagine TCS or Wipro in India, they are providing what? Maintenance and other kinds of service. They are not involved in making models. They maybe were good at deploying certain AI models or integrating AI models into other products. Now these companies are doing those things. So in a way it is going to hurt India's IT market. Okay, so India's IT market system, as you know, it was based on arbitrage. It's a very famous concept. It's like receiving money in dollars and paying their employees in rupee. Okay, they used to have the difference, and they were providing services only. Wipro, Infosys, and the other is TCS. Now, because end-to-end services are going to be provided by OpenAI and Anthropic, they are also hiring AI engineers. So, a need for Indian companies will come down. So, Indian companies have to reinvent themselves. OpenAI created a new enterprise-focused unit, over $4 billion backing. So, other companies are also investing in OpenAI. And here, enterprise AI means वही AI है, in which you ultimately deploy the model also in the apps or in other systems where you need the AI models to function. Indian IT firms may face disruption in traditional outsourcing models. जो मैं बोल रहा था, they used to take advantage of arbitrage. ये outsource ही करते थे basically. They used to send their people abroad, or they used to deal with foreign clients by saying कि okay, our employees will do your job, and they used to charge money in dollars, and their clients used to pay them in dollars, and dollars $1 अगर हो गया मान लो, and whatever the price was there, maybe after a certain discount, or they used to pay their employees TCS in rupees, and that too very low salaries. So the major chunk was taken by the companies. So that is why Indian companies are very famous. Cheap labor ke through they used to solve IT problems. Bharat Maritime Insurance Pool, this is another important concept related to the Middle East crisis, because there are shipping companies or vessels which can be targeted or affected. Okay, so there are many vulnerabilities starting from fire safety हो गया, okay, missile attack, cargo loss. So these are the various types of vulnerabilities associated with ships and shipping companies. That's why these companies need insurance, a guarantee that if something happens, the company will pay them. And as you know, just like life insurance, you pay premiums, okay, to keep your insurance active, to keep your insurance policy active. Now, most of these insurance companies were situated abroad. So India had to lose forex. India was paying in dollars, okay? Because in a way India was importing services. Now, general insurance company and other general insurance companies, the name of the company is General Insurance, and other non-life insurance companies, they have pulled together money. They're saying buy policy from us instead of sending money abroad. Okay. Now these companies have the combined capacity of paying for losses amounting to $1.5 billion. Only some eligibility criteria is there. Not small vessels are covered, only large vessels. Okay. But you don't need to know the nitty-gritty. This much is enough. $1.5 billion, which is a huge amount. So if losses worth this much happens, these companies can easily compensate for that. And this supports India's Maritime India Vision 2030. Because Maritime India Vision is a very comprehensive vision. It focuses on shipbuilding, ship repairing, port infrastructure, and of course, this insurance part also. The initiative seeks to retain insurance premium within India. DigiLocker, as you know, this is an initiative by MITI, or Ministry of Electronics and Information Technology, in which, in a way, you can say it is just like a document wallet. In wallet, you store money. So this is just like a store for keeping safely and securely your documents. Okay, it can be your 10th board certificate, it can be a 12th board certificate or graduation documents, or any other Aadhaar card in e-format, anything you can store. Okay, and now the recent context is that some states have done really well in integrating DigiLocker. That means they are generating awareness about using DigiLocker more and more. Okay, so that's it. It operates under Digital India program, which DigiLocker, and DigiLocker is a secure digital document storage platform. That means you don't have to worry about the physical documents. If you lose them, you can also safely use the e-documents. But still, it's a very sincere advice. Some companies, offices, departments, they require physical documents. Okay, so physical documents also have to be kept very safely and securely. You simply cannot rely upon e-documents. Sometimes you may be turned down, or some company or department can decline service on the basis of non-availability of physical or tangible documents. Cyber fraud, another MOU between I4C and the RBI. I4C is a body under Ministry of Home Affairs, which is, I think, Indian Cybercrime Coordination Center. Okay, so it detects and tracks frauds who commit cybercrime, because RBI is into stopping financial frauds. Okay, so many terrorists, criminals are using mule accounts. What are mule accounts? Mule bank accounts are those bank accounts which are illegal bank accounts used by criminals. So they may, what happened if somebody is a criminal and the bank has all the details related to the criminal, they can easily detect any fund transaction or any money transaction taking place or involving the bank account. Okay, so the criminal will come up with a very wise idea. It will try to buy another account or use another individual. It may ask, give him or her some money, okay, I will use your bank account for carrying out transactions. He may tell that individual about the nature of his job, or he may keep him in the dark. Ultimately, such innocent consumers, they also fall into such traps. Okay, so these are mule accounts. There are different categories. Okay, now to track any kind of transaction involving mule accounts, the RBI has partnered with I4C, which comes under Ministry of Home Affairs. So here you need to understand the concept of mule accounts and what I4C does. It comes under Ministry of Home Affairs, okay, not under Ministry of Finance or the RBI or MeitY. Appointment of the CBI director. So again, let's not get into the political discussion because that is not important from the point of view of UPSC. So recently the leader of opposition has declined his involvement in selecting the CBI director or CBI director. CBI is a non-statutory body. Although it derives its power from this Special Act of 1946, Delhi Special Police Establishment Act, it is a non-statutory body. Okay, and its director has a 2-year tenure, and it is selected from a list of individuals by a committee which consists of the Prime Minister plus the Chief Justice of India or any judge, Supreme Court judge appointed by him, plus the leader of opposition or the leader of the second largest party. Okay, so that was supposed to be Rahul Gandhi, I guess, but he declined. So the director gets a minimum tenure of 2 years, and CBI was set up on the basis of the recommendation of Santhanam committee, but it is not a statutory body, although it derives its power from DPC Act 1946. And it is the country's highest investigative agency, police agency, okay, and also India's representative for Interpol, International Police. The last the second last quick update is about National Social Assistance Program or NSAP. It's a central sector scheme, and the beneficiaries under scheme get rupees 200 per month. So rupees, now you understood what the problem is. Rupees 200 is nothing as compared to the inflation level which is prevalent now. Okay, you cannot buy anything for rupees 200, anything worthwhile. So that is why the government is going to revise the pension received by beneficiaries under the scheme. And what is the amount going to be? They are going to release it later. So this is the issue. NSAP supports elderly, widows and disabled persons from poor households. And remember, it's a central sector scheme, not a centrally sponsored scheme. Okay, 100% of the total funds used to come from the central government. Rising living and healthcare costs affect elderly beneficiaries. The last one is related to science and technology. It's called Program Death 1 inhibitor based cancer immunotherapy. Basically, cancer cells used to fool the immune system. What does the immune system of a body do? It fights against antigens. Antigens can be your foreign elements coming from outside the body, like bacteria, virus, fungi, etc. Okay. Now, cancer cells are produced within the body. They are not foreign elements or antigens. So the immune system used to be fooled by the cancer cells, although they are causing harm to your body. Now, immunotherapy is a new method to fight cancer. That means your immune system will now understand the activities and the function of the cancer cell, and it will come up with an immediate response. Okay. Cancer cells are very clever cells, although they don't have a brain, but it's just for your easy understanding. They used to act in a very smart manner. Of course, they didn't have thinking ability. They're just cells. They used to create or use this pathway called PD-1 pathway. or PD1 pathway, whatever. You can choose either of the two pronunciations. It's called programmed death. Using this pathway, they used to enter the nervous system also. And sometimes cancer, as you know, it can metastasize. That means metastasis can take place. If a particular organ is affected with cancer, it may get cured temporarily, but after a couple of years, it may show up somewhere else. Sometimes your colon cancer can become, liver cancer can become colon cancer. Okay, lung cancer can become testicular cancer. Anything can happen. Okay, and sometimes metastasis can also take place. This process is called metastasis, remember. And this is associated with cancer. That means showing up of cancer cells in a part of body which is not the original site. And metastasis can also take place in human brain. And human brain is well protected. There is a barrier, blood barrier, that protects the brain. Now researchers are saying that using PDI inhibitor means stopping, inhibiting means slowing down or stopping or preventing. PDI1 is a mechanism used by cancer cells. If you are inhibiting it, that means you're counteracting against the cancer cells. Using this technology, we are not quite sure, because still research is taking, more and more researches are taking place. Thus, this pathway can, in a way, alter the blood barrier that protects the brain, and may be useful for stopping or preventing metastasis in brain, although it may have some risky side effects. Okay, so we don't know that much. All you need to know is that what is PDI inhibitor used in. It's used by cancer cells to fool the immune system. Okay, that's it. So that's all about today's news today. Try to make the most of digital current affairs. And now 6 to 7 questions will appear on the screen. Do take them. Wish you all the very best.